I'm here to inform you that I do in fact like premium sets and Vanguards, and I'll be furious if this is the last one we get because oh boy was this set arguably one of the best in recent times. Now that I have a ton of positive things to say, let me start with this. I can quite confidently say that every single card in this set helped propel their respective clan forward, and as they introduced for the first time new G guards in years, with some reducing crits and others becoming perfect guards, rest in peace Zoa. Although some cards may be in comparison better than others, I'm going to highlight some of the clans that were impacted the most by Premium Collection 2022. Now, first let's start with Great Nature. You know I couldn't do this video without talking about my absolute favorite clan. Since we were trying to still figure out why Sipticom was printed besides for trigger stacking, Calidrius brought Great Nature a very impactful first stride, as it would give Rhino an extra layer of guard restrict and would be more powerful than Balaral on first stride without using a soul, and still requires units to proc and die at the end of the turn to allow end phase shenanigans. And not to mention me calling the G guard that would be a lottery mechanic, and another large shield in Great Nature for defensive options was welcomed, as well as the chance for it to become a perfect guard. Continuing with Zoo, let's talk about Megacolony. Megalantis was an amazing stride for this clan as it allowed Megacolony to get resources and help the deck's overall lower numbers by making them larger through reducing your opponent's Vanguard's power. This in tandem with Grade 4 Gridora still proves to be one of the strongest stride synergies in the game. Defensively, Mega's G Guardian is absolutely insane, as it is a 45k shield and forces your opponent to reduce the shield versus how other shield gaining effects work in the set. For the cost of a Soul Blast, this card single-handedly becomes Megacolony's best G guard. Next, we're moving to the Dark Zone and we're starting off with Spike Brothers. Arguably the best card out of this set, Galligabarus was being called on its release Katrina 2.0 because of its power boosting and free board generation. Galli in combination with Mecha Instructor allowed the deck to have a stride turn that would consistently have a 12 attack combo with multiple flex points, allowing the deck to pivot in different lines of play when facing disruptive G guards. Most of the time, this deck was almost guaranteed to kill on first stride, paired with its very strong Grade 2 game. Spike Brothers G Guardian though has another avenue as Hecaton Gaze, and the ability to return units to the deck. However, the fact that you can draw when you return a Grade 3 is important, and recycling pieces like Deadly Lucifer. Next is Dark Irregulars. Fox was perfectly designed for Dark Irregulars' current state in the metagame, as NLK is still dominantly the best deck in the clan. This card will allow you to extend until one more Vanguard attack after your Grade 3 Vanguard attacked your opponent's Grade 3 Vanguard, so the progression on NLK, Barrel Magnus, Fox allowed you to have several very powerful middle column swings while sending critical triggers back to the deck when you Superior Strode into Fox. DI's G Guardian allowed you for units on your opponent's turn to lose one critical for each 10 card set you had in your soul. And this allowed you to be able to nullify multiple units on your opponent's board at one time, allowing for DI to have a solid defensive outlet if the combo failed. Next is Gear Chronicle. Shlishma didn't see immediately relevance like other cards in this set, but still propelled the current best deck to the top of the meta in Steam Maidens. Shlishma's ability to be Gear Chronicle's Shibaraku Victor extended attacks and allowed for more combo attack lines for Gear Chronicle to deviate away from the Chronojet V Plus build and have more premium deck options. While Gear Chronicle's G Guardian is lackluster and has very heavy cost to become a PG, there's also still some relevance for it to have finally an out to the Zoa combo. Next, we move on to United Sanctuary with Shadow Paladin. With Kalcraw, Shadow Paladin, and particularly Luard, had an answer to the Gridora and Chaos matchups, which are some of the deck's worst matchups, allowing you to add to your ritual count and have a restanding of Vanguard, enabled a plethora of other options down the G-Zone that was not Morfessa or Chainraker spam. While at face value this card is underwhelming compared to Chainraker and Morfessa, the ability to have a premier Shadow Paladin deck and premium have more G-Zone options was absolutely fantastic and necessary. Now, arguably this is my favorite G Guardian from the set. Deep Griever Dragon allowed Luard and Revengers to put back combo pieces inside the Grade 1 slot from your drop zone back to deck, and would gain 5k for each Grade 1. If 5 Grade 1s were returned to the deck, you could counterblast one and allow Deep Griever Dragon to become a perfect guard, and so now Shadow Paladin finally got a stronger G Guardian than Plotmaker. Next, we move on to Angel Feather, and this is kind of a weird one. Zafkiel allowed for Angels to have a very different first stride than Gabriel Eden. Zafkiel could take cards from the board, including locked ones, finally giving Angels out to a Link Joker, and allow you to gain power or drive checks based on the type of unit put into the damage zone. Then, Angel's G Guardian, while taxing, gave you a unique way to heal from your opponent's turn, by using cards from the damage zone and placing them on Guardian Circle, allowing you to do very cheeky plays with draw PGs. Now we dive on into Megacolony with Granblue. Bartholomew gave Granblue access to another finisher. Bartholomew's ability to turn on a turn-wide guard restrict if it has 30 cards in the drop zone and extend attacks provided it to be a consistent Beatrice and Scaredic Turbo finisher that utilized the card in tandem with Navigator. Finishing power would allow opponents' hands to be shredded in combination with its multi-attack. Granblue's G-Guardian works similarly to how DI's does, but instead of reducing 1 crit per every unit, it reduces 1 crit for a unit for every 10 cards in drop zone, allowing you to reduce high crit units' lethality, and you can practically take 0 damage. Now we move on into Bermuda Triangle. Heltrata was a very interesting addition to Bermuda, as various decks that were Vanguard centric such as Highlander and Riviera were able to abuse Heltrata with resetting your field and having a more offensive out-to-link Joker. While this card isn't always guaranteed to go first stride because of its heavily cost of discarding 3, a Counterblast and a Soul Blast, its upside allows for Bermuda Triangle to explore different avenues of deck building. Bermuda's G-Guardian though allows you to protect units by returning them to your hand for a Counterblast, and it gains shield if it's grade 2 or less, or if the unit you return to your hand is grade 3 or greater, it lets you buff your Vanguard by 5k. Allowing you to protect Q-Tire was important originally for its printing, as it would let you gain advantage again, but unfortunately this strategy is no longer super relevant due to Q-Tire's hit in the last ban list. Dimension Police. And this is an amazing one. Uniburg Galaxy was a game changer as it was a stride that finally included the burst keyword and was another DP stride that could be paired with Linka and was relevant. Not only could this card be an impactful first stride, but it also gains power from units and damage, allowing you to have a completely costless high power play, allowing you to hit power thresholds while still being able to flip Geoma Glass. DP's greatest strength though was added by its new G-Guardian. This thing is crazy, as this card not only enables you to recycle grade 3s for shield, but lets you gain access to ultimate stride fodder and reusable Dizauruses on command for extra drive check pressure. DP's tankiness was definitely increased by this card. Next, we move on to Dragon Empire, and we save the best for last. You're welcome, Ty. If you think I was going to do this whole video and not talk about the strongest G-Zone pairing of all time and Exterminate Dragon being added with Stunverse, you'd be quite mistaken. While Stunverse was a strong card, and if you played into it, you would be punished, and if you could play around it pretty easily though in most situations. If you played around Stunverse, you didn't get your resources crippled and were really viewed as a lackluster stride. However, Exterminate changed the course of Narukami forever. Exterminate was a direct answer for if you played around Stunverse, and now non-Naru players had to make a choice of either to die and get crippled from Stunverse, or get absolutely floored by Exterminate. But Exterminate did things Stunverse couldn't do. Exterminate would automatically draw you cards, and if your opponent's front row is open, it will let you increase your front row by even greater power. And eventually this prompted the community to have Bushiroad choose between 1 with the Naru G-Zone problem. While Stunverse was ultimately hit to 1, I personally absolutely hate Stunverse. As time goes on, I may believe that Exterminate may have been the proper hit, which prompted this whole entire problem to begin with, but only time will tell. In terms of G-Guards, I was thankful that Narukami didn't get another interactive G-Guard, but instead gained a G-Guard that actually solved the clan's problems in terms of shield, with the very super defensive Counteract Dragon being able to go upwards to 35k shield if your opponent did not choose to bind units. While I only know I covered a handful of the amazing cards in this set, I just think that those clans were impacted the most. I'm so thankful that we received new G-Guardians to finally acknowledge V's power increase in premium and got strides that opened in various deck building options in the G-Zone. If you enjoyed this type of content, make sure you support me by shopping with Kingslayer cards and use the promo code SCHOLAR and save 5% off. If you are interested in winning a box of Dragon Masquerade, make sure to check out the video on the end screen to figure out how to enter. The drawing is July 14th. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. I love you all, and take care.